The cable car swayed slightly, and Adrian's childhood sweetheart screamed in fright. In front of everyone, he shoved me back hard. You did it on purpose, didn't you? Why are you so malicious? I shook my head helplessly, desperately trying to explain, but only received his rage in return. He stuffed me into the washing machine, and heavy objects were piled on top. You venomous woman. You're going to stay in there and reflect on yourself today. The air gradually thinned, my breathing became difficult, and I finally suffocated to death. A week later, he remembered me only when he smelled the disgusting stench of my corpse. Well, have you admitted your mistakes yet? You're so disgusting, you even peed and pooped yourself. But when he saw that painful face and twisted body, he panicked completely. The cramped space suffocated me. I frantically pounded on the inside of the washing machine, hoping he would let me out. But all that came was his furious voice. You can reflect on yourself properly in there. If it weren't for you, Nora wouldn't have been frightened today. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll come out and harm people in the future. I hadn't done anything, yet Adrian had branded me as a villain. Helpless tears streamed from the corners of my eyes. Outside the door, Celia's whimpering voice could be heard. Brother Adrian, maybe we should let it go. Maybe Nora didn't mean to. Just hearing her tone, I could imagine her fake and scheming manner. Celia, Adrian's childhood sweetheart. It was because of this childhood sweetheart that my relationship with Adrian plummeted. Adrian comforted her gently, a far cry from his ferocious appearance just now. Celia, you're just too kind. You always think of others. You need to know that people can be treacherous. Some people have hearts like scorpions. Don't think of everyone as simple as you. I took a deep breath of the last bit of air, trying to suppress the churning in my heart. When did I become so unbearable in Adrian's eyes? Celia trembled as she pretended to speak up for me. But Nora's locked inside. She must be scared, right? When he mentioned me, Adrian's eyes were filled with hysterical anger. Even his tone became more rigid. Scared? What does she have to be scared of? She jumped into the cable car on purpose. Didn't she know you were inside? It's so dangerous. What if you were hurt? It would break my heart. At this point, I was already drowsy, and every breath became extremely heavy. Adrian's words were all piercing my heart. Today, Adrian asked me to go hiking, and I was overjoyed. He had been giving me the cold shoulder for a week. I thought he wanted to use this opportunity to make up with me. I had specially dressed myself up so that he wouldn't say I was an old hag later. I took a taxi alone to the foot of the mountain and waited for him for nearly an hour. He got out of his Maybach with Celia, like a princess and prince in a fairy tale. I forced a smile and wanted to go forward and greet him, but he didn't even look at me directly. Then, a bag weighing more than 10 pounds was thrown over. Take this. It's all Celia's stuff. Don't lose it. You can't even guard a single bag. And Celia next to him said in a delicate voice, Nora, I'm sorry my shoulder was injured before, so I can only ask you to help me. I stood there, stunned. Before I could recover, the two of them had already walked away, chatting and laughing. So it wasn't about making up at all. It was just looking for me to do the heavy lifting. Celia was already panting after climbing 2 steps. Adrian felt sorry for her, so he bought us cable car tickets. As a result, when we got on the cable car suddenly swayed slightly. Celia screamed in fright and covered her ears. A fierce slap landed on my face. Bitch, you did it on purpose, didn't you? Do you need to jump to get on a car? Don't you know your own weight? If something happens, can you take responsibility? Even though the staff next to us quickly advised that this was normal operation, but the nonstop crying next to me made Adrian even more furious. He roughly dragged me out of the cable car. Then he pushed me back hard, and I didn't stand firm and fell directly to the ground. 2 red welts appeared on my knees. You venomous woman. You must have done it on purpose. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you don't know what ways you'll think of to harm Celia in the future. Those angry eyes made people shudder. The onlookers did not dare to step forward to stop him. He grabbed my hair, feeling like my entire scalp was about to be torn off. In the swaying, I was stuffed into the car by him. The first thing he did when we got home was force me to kneel. You kneel down and apologize to Celia right now. It's all your fault that she was frightened today. I shook my head helplessly, desperately trying to explain. But it was all in vain. He stuffed me into the washing machine, and then heavy objects were piled on top of the washing machine lid. At that moment, my heart sank to the bottom. This was the husband I had been with for 7 years, just a demon. Suddenly, I felt much lighter. The suffocating feeling of oppression was completely gone. My soul gradually floated out of this body. Looking at myself in the washing machine, with that frantic appearance, I was terrified and couldn't help but tremble. My eyes were wide like copper bells, and my body was almost folded in half. I died, murdered by the husband I had been with for 7 years. My soul floated out, perhaps because of deep resentment. Involuntarily, I floated to Adrian. He was currently dining with Celia in a high-end restaurant. In 7 years of marriage, Adrian had never taken me to such a fancy place. Like a gentleman, he picked Celia's favorite dishes for her. He poured her wine and drinks, and even peeled the shrimp in front of her one by one, then fed them into her mouth. As the two were eating happily, Celia let out a long sigh. Adrian, this might be the last time Celia can have a meal alone with you. Hearing Celia say this, Adrian's expression immediately darkened. Why are you saying that all of a sudden? I could clearly feel the urgency in Adrian's tone. Celia took out her phone from her pocket with a pitiful expression. One chat record after another was displayed before Adrian's eyes. I saw everything clearly from above. Adrian is mine. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Or I'll kill you. You're so ugly. Do you think you're worthy of Adrian? You think you can compare to me? I'm afraid you're not even worthy of carrying my shoes. Competing for a man with me? These chat records were so familiar. But these were not sent by Celia to me. Only now the profile pictures in the chat records were switched. In Adrian's eyes, the person who said such vicious things had become me. At this moment, I wanted nothing more than to slap Celia and tell Adrian that I didn't say those things. But the slap landed on nothing. I floated helplessly in the air. But even if I hadn't died, Adrian wouldn't have listened to my explanation. Adrian carefully read through each of these records. His angry brows were almost squeezed into a knot. Then he suddenly stood up and slammed his hand directly on the table. Nora, that venomous woman, looks so harmless on the surface, but in reality, she's such a vicious person. Celia also cooperated by crying softly. Celia, I'm here, don't be afraid, don't let her affect you. And Celia leaned into Adrian's arms. At this point, it had been over 12 hours since he locked me in there. The driver, Uncle Morgan, called and he cautiously spoke. Mr. Adrian, the madam has been locked up for a long time. Do you need me to let her out? I'm worried something might happen to her. The weather was hot, and the temperature inside the small space was frighteningly high. I was already having trouble breathing shortly after being locked in. Let alone now that 12 hours had passed. Anyone with common sense would know the consequences of what he was doing. But he was only met with Adrian's rebuke. What could happen? She's just been spoiled. Lock her up for a few days and let her reflect on herself. Don't let me know you're secretly sending her food. Or you're packing your bags and leaving. Let her go hungry. That'll teach her a lesson. Uncle Morgan had been his driver for over a decade, and had practically watched him grow up. Now, for the sake of Celia, he didn't even take him seriously. Uncle Morgan could only helplessly hang up the phone. After the two finished eating, they went to see a movie, doing things without any boundaries. When Celia suggested that Adrian accompany her on a trip to relax, Adrian agreed without hesitation, saying repeatedly, "Good, I don't want to see that woman anyway." Celia jumped up happily and left a kiss on Adrian's forehead. Adrian, you're the best to me. Nora really doesn't know how to cherish you. And Adrian couldn't hide the smile on his face. The two agreed immediately, and booked a flight to another city that night. Adrian wholeheartedly cared for Celia's feelings. He handed over all his work to his assistant. He also set his phone to do not disturb mode. They played outside for a whole week. For this whole week, Adrian seemed to have forgotten about me. Forgotten that I was still locked in the washing machine. As soon as he got home, Uncle Morgan ran over with tears in his eyes. Mr. Adrian, you're finally back, the madam. The madam. It's been almost a week since I died. My body already emits a disgusting stench of decay. Uncle Morgan probably suspects I've met with misfortune. But Adrian locked the door from the outside. Without his orders, no one in the house dares to open it on their own. He casually changed his shoes and lay down on the comfortable sofa. What's wrong with her? Does she know she's wrong? If she doesn't, lock her up for a few more days until she admits it. What exactly did I do wrong that he has to be so vicious towards me? Uncle Morgan hung his head and muttered softly, Mr. Adrian, Madam has been locked up for so long. Without food or drink, I'm afraid she's already gone. Hearing Uncle Morgan say that, Adrian seemed to be enraged. He grabbed the remote control from the coffee table and slammed it at Uncle Morgan. Uncle Morgan was old and didn't have time to dodge. It hit him right in the forehead. Someone as attached to life as her. Would she be willing to die? It's just a worthless life. Maybe she already crawled out of the washing machine. Why are you worrying about her? 2 years ago, Adrian was in a car accident and desperately needed a large blood transfusion. It turned out he had rare blood type, and the hospital blood bank was running out. It so happened that I also had that rare blood type. I donated blood to him, and he got his life back. As a result, I fainted from low blood sugar after donating blood and fell, injuring my bone. I stayed in the hospital for half a month. As a result, Celia seized the opportunity to hang around Adrian every day. She even claimed that she had found someone to donate blood for him. Since then, Adrian has had a very bad opinion of me. He thought I must have been afraid of death, so I hid. I tried to explain many times, but each time he roared angrily at me. Nora, who the hell are you? Where were you when I was in a car accident and sick in the hospital? If it weren't for Celia, I'd probably be dead already. So in his eyes, I am the one who is afraid of death. Perhaps smelling something, he took out a set of keys from his pocket. That woman is really disgusting. Did she shit and piss all over herself? It stinks. Uncle Morgan picked up the keys and rushed over without saying a word. Then he let out a terrifying scream. Mr. Adrian, Madam. Madam, she. Uncle Morgan had already fallen to the ground in fear. His whole body trembled with fright, and he couldn't even speak properly. Adrian found the voice too harsh, and got up impatiently from the sofa. Then he walked straight towards the room where I was locked up. He subconsciously covered his mouth and nose, with a look of disdain on his face. Nora, don't be so ungrateful. I'm letting you out now, so get your ass out here. Do I have to beg you to come out? Celia has already pleaded for you with me. You just need to kneel down and apologize to her another day, and this matter will be over. Damn it, my patience is limited. If you don't come out again, I'll... He walked angrily towards the washing machine, when his fierce eyes met the corpse in the washing machine, reeking of a disgusting death stench. His lips parted slightly, his pupils full of shock and fear. What the hell? Scared me to death. Adrian's fist unconsciously rubbed together. It must be Nora's doing, right? Playing a prank with a dummy, how funny. As he spoke, he angrily lifted Uncle Morgan up. Speak, where did Nora run off to? Why isn't she in the washing machine? Uncle Morgan was so frightened that his hands trembled involuntarily. Mr. Adrian, the person in the washing machine is precisely Madam. Please take a closer look. Adrian's pupils constricted, whether from fear or unwillingness to believe. I was personally stuffed into the washing machine by him. My body was almost folded in half. It was impossible to survive inside for a week. Because of the shaking, the washing machine left deep and shallow marks on the surrounding area. But Adrian still didn't believe it, shouting and ordering loudly. Nora, you better get your ass out here. If I find out you're fooling me, I won't let you off. You think these little tricks can fool me? You're really good at buying people's hearts. Uncle Morgan has followed me for so many years, and you actually got him to cooperate with your performance. I really underestimated you. His words made me laugh. How could I have such great ability to do these things? The smell in the house was nauseating. He rushed out of the house like a madman. He immediately gathered his men and declared, "Whoever finds Madam, I'll reward him with 3 million. I didn't expect Adrian to be so generous to me for the first time. It was actually to find me. But the subordinates standing in a row, none of them moved. They knew very well that the corpse in the washing machine was me. A slightly younger man spoke without restraint. Mr. Adrian, wasn't your wife pressed into the washing machine by you? Where do you want the brothers to look? Adrian frowned and walked towards the man. Without saying a word, he kicked the man. Due to Adrian's power, everyone present dared not say a word. If you dare to say another word, you'll be the next one pressed into the washing machine. Everyone immediately perked up and paid attention. I couldn't help but sneer. My husband is truly a devil. At his command, everyone began to pretend to look for me, and ordered Uncle Morgan to dispose of me in the washing machine. Otherwise, Uncle Morgan would be fired. Uncle Morgan could only helplessly shake his head and agree. After Adrian finished explaining everything, he drove away. As for where he went, I didn't want to know. My soul floated to this house I had lived in for 7 years. Every corner was filled with past memories. My fate with Adrian was probably a mistake from the beginning. We were students at the same university. For me, coming from out of town, getting into this school took 10 times the effort. I finally didn't disappoint myself. I scored nearly 700 points, the top scorer in the province that year. My family was ordinary, but this school was considered an elite institution. Many wealthy people practically bought their way in. But I was the only one who got in through my own hard work. Perhaps because of my family background, the people around me looked at me with prejudiced eyes. I worked part-time to support myself, but I became a monster in everyone's eyes. Adrian was different. He came from a wealthy family supported by a family business. Everyone held him high, and there were many secret admirers. Maybe that was a trouble for him. Once, when a girl confessed her feelings to him, he rejected her, and the girl tearfully questioned him why. I was passing by, and he grabbed me. Then, acting like a stubborn rich kid, he said, "Because I have a girlfriend." His handsome and refined face was refreshing. Everyone thought he was joking, but he directly lowered his head and kissed me. What do you think? Do I need to prove anything else? From then on, I became the enemy of all the girls in the school. Just like in a cheesy old idol drama. But I knew the gap between us, so I immediately rejected him. Perhaps for him, what he couldn't get was always the most tempting. So he launched a fierce pursuit of me. And I was gradually moved by him. Before, I only knew that he came from a wealthy family. But I didn't expect him to be so rich. He had several drivers and nannies at home. He even hired 2 bodyguards specifically. I became the lofty Mrs. Lou. After the marriage, he took good care of me. I thought we would be happy like this forever. Until his childhood sweetheart returned to the country. My status plummeted, like a discarded wife cast into the cold palace. Adrian didn't get home until late. His brows were furrowed, weariness etched on his face. He had just inadvertently glanced at a news article. The Lou Corporation was recently experiencing some financial problems. He must be troubled by this matter. He wearily lay on the sofa, and subconsciously called out my name. "Nora, hurry and prepare hot water for my bath, and also cook something to eat, I'm hungry." Then he closed his eyes, but after waiting for several minutes, no one came. Only then did he realize that I was not here. Normally, he comes home late from work, and I often wait for him to eat together until 8 o'clock. But I was happy to do so day in and day out, for 10 years. It's probably also a matter of eating habits. Over the years, I've gained about 10 pounds. So he would often subtly mock me for being fat, even comparing me to Celia. "Can't you pay attention to your figure? Looking like a fat pig, I'm embarrassed to take you out. If you don't understand these things, learn from Celia, she's a professional, okay?" It wasn't a lie that he wouldn't take me out. Since I gained weight, he really hasn't taken me out. Even riding in his car has become less frequent. Every time I need to go somewhere, Uncle Morgan arranges it for me. Realizing I wasn't there, came more complaints about me. "Nora, oh ho, you've got a temper, not coming home for so long? If I catch you, you can forget about leaving this house again." To this day, Adrian still doesn't want to believe that I'm dead. He even thinks I'm playing hide and seek with him. Before, I would help him draw the bathwater. He has a habit of taking baths. Now that I'm gone, he just takes a quick shower. After finishing the shower, his phone rang. Celia's name was clearly displayed on the screen. Her spoiled voice still came from the other end of the phone. "Adrian, dear, I'm feeling so unwell. Can you take me to the hospital?" Hearing that Celia was sick, Adrian immediately became anxious. Without saying a word, He grabbed his keys and rushed out. At that moment, a sudden storm broke outside. The weather station also reported that there would be heavy rainfall in the next few hours, advising the public to reduce going out. But Adrian didn't stop. There's no need to guess, Adrian will definitely go. After all, this wasn't the first time. Even in stormy weather, Adrian's speed reached over 100 kilometers per hour. When he picked up Celia, he was full of heartache. Celia was taken to the hospital. The doctor frowned. "Hello, madam. Where do you feel unwell?" A hint of dodging flickered in Celia's eyes. She stammered and began to speak. "It's just, I feel a bit stuffy in my chest, and then—" The doctor seemed to have guessed something, and then planned to go see another patient. "Madam, I just examined you, and there's nothing particularly wrong. You don't even need to take medicine. You should be fine if you rest for a while by the side." The doctor's words were very subtle, but anyone with eyes could tell that Celia was faking illness. Celia frowned, not daring to say more. Adrian punched the doctor in the face. "You quack, she's so unwell. And you're saying she's not sick? Do you believe I'll get you fired in a minute?" The doctor's glasses were knocked off his face by Adrian. His face was full of terror. Later, the head of the department on duty came to mediate, and repeatedly gave Celia a thorough diagnosis. Adrian's anger subsided by half. A pregnancy test notification form falling on the ground caught Adrian's attention. He crouched down and picked it up. The name column clearly read my name. Perhaps he wouldn't have cared usually, maybe he would have just thought it was a coincidence of names. But now, when he saw my name again, he was like a furious beast, desperate to know my whereabouts. "Nora? How do you have her medical record? She's pregnant? When did this happen?" "Some time ago. I wasn't feeling well, so I went to the hospital for a checkup. I didn't expect to be pregnant. For years, I've desperately wanted a child of my own. Adrian often leaves early and comes home late, and I often feel lonely at home. Moreover, Adrian's attitude towards me is getting colder and colder. Perhaps if we had a child of our own, his attitude towards me would change. Our relationship would be closer. But after trying for a long time, I couldn't get pregnant. Now that I'm pregnant, I'm dead." Tears streamed down from the corners of my eyes. I felt a heart-wrenching pain in my heart. The fact that Adrian killed me is already done. But the child in my stomach is innocent. He hasn't even seen the world yet. His biological father gave him life, and then brutally snuffed it out. Seeing this examination report, Celia's face visibly turned angry. She pouted, stomping her feet in anger. "Adrian, didn't you promise me you wouldn't touch that woman? How could you?" Adrian quickly pulled her into his arms. "I didn't. I swear I haven't been with that woman for a long time. I feel disgusted just seeing her fat body. How could I be interested in her? Celia, please don't be angry, okay?" Their words were ambiguous. Clearly, Adrian and I are legally married. Some things are taken for granted. Yet he would assure Celia of such things. It's true that Adrian and I haven't had marital relations for a long time. But a month ago, he came home drunk. We had relations that night. And I left early the next morning. He blacked out from drinking, and probably doesn't remember what happened. I couldn't help but feel a wave of irony. He abruptly tore the medical report to shreds, then said in a vicious tone, "Nora, you slut, you're cheating on me behind my back? I must find you. How dare you cuckold Adrian, I'll kill you." And Celia added fuel to the fire, gently comforting Adrian. "Adrian, don't be angry. I didn't expect Nora to be this kind of person. You must not be angry with yourself, because of this kind of person. If I hadn't gone abroad back then, Adrian, you wouldn't have married such a low-class woman with no status. Celia's family background is also pretty good. She completely doesn't take me seriously. She thinks that because I come from a small place, I'm the one who climbed up to Adrian. And she has always been in love with Adrian. So from beginning to end, she has treated me as an enemy. And her malicious intentions started when she added me on WeChat. She would occasionally send me intimate photos of the two of them, only visible to me, deliberately provoking me. I knew her hatred for me was deep. Looking at Adrian's angry appearance and Celia's hypocritical consolation, I only felt endless sorrow in my heart. My body was transported to the funeral home by Uncle Morgan. But without a family member's signature, the funeral home won't cremate it. Back then, in order to marry Adrian, I came to this city alone. And Adrian is my only family. Uncle Morgan couldn't bear for me to suffer in this world anymore. So he called Adrian. Mr. Adrian, can you come to the crematorium? Adrian was a businessman. In his mind, places like crematoriums were unclean. They would affect the Liu family's fortune. So when Uncle Morgan asked him to come, he immediately scolded Uncle Morgan without saying a word. Old Liu, after following me for so many years, are you still this clueless? Uncle Morgan in his 50s held back tears, trying not to cry. At this point, my body had already decomposed, and my originally delicate face was unrecognizable. Madam found. You better come over here. Upon hearing my name, Adrian immediately dropped what he was doing. He practically flew over. Where's Nora? Where is she? Seeing Adrian arrive, Uncle Morgan immediately stopped crying and pointed to me, covered with a white cloth. The people around him also showed expressions of disgust. Dead people can't come back to life. Cremate it quickly, so the deceased can reincarnate sooner. This corpse stinks too much. I wonder how long it's been lying there. Whose corpse is this? Take it away quickly. What if it scares the children? Unexpectedly, even after death, I was disturbed by Adrian. He grabbed Uncle Morgan and then said through gritted teeth, Old Liu, last time I didn't fire you because you've been working at my house for so many years. I didn't expect you to still be putting on a show with that woman. What benefits did that woman give you? Amazing, you even used the crematorium. Tell that woman, Adrian, will never let her go in this lifetime. Uncle Morgan used all his strength to break free from his control. His eyes became simple, and his tone was full of disappointment. After all, Adrian was someone he had watched grow up since he was a child. He was probably indignant because he didn't expect Adrian to suspect him like this. Mr. Adrian, Madam is lying right there. Go and see for yourself. Since you distrust me so much, then I won't bother you. I quit this job myself. Uncle Morgan shoved a bunch of keys into Adrian's hand. At this time, Adrian gradually came to his senses. His whole face changed from initial anger to a wooden expression. Although he said he didn't believe it, his feet moved very honestly. He slowly approached my body, and after hesitating for a moment, he lifted the white cloth. Seeing that decayed and unrecognizable face, he screamed in fright. What the hell, who is this? Then he glared fiercely at Uncle Morgan. You're telling me this is Nora? Nora was such a clean person her whole life. Would she let herself become so unsightly after death? Who are you trying to fool? Although he didn't admit it, he noticed the bracelet on my wrist. He recognized it at a glance. It was the 26th birthday gift he gave me. When buying a gift for Celia, he got a freebie. Then he gave it to me. Perhaps even he didn't want to believe that I would wear this gift every day. Uncle Morgan threw a DNA test report in front of him. It indeed proved that the person was me. And indeed, I was pregnant. Faced with all the evidence, Adrian's psychological defenses instantly broke down. His expression began to change from anger to terror and panic. He wanted to reach out and touch me, but he fearfully pulled back. Then large teardrops fell from the corners of his eyes. Nora, how could you die? It's just a washing machine. How could it trap you? I used this washing machine for 7 years. Washed countless clothes for him. I never imagined I would die inside it in the end. How ironic. I really didn't mean to. I just wanted to scare you a little. You weren't feeling well. Why didn't you call me? I floated in the air, and couldn't help but chuckle. Before being stuffed into the washing machine, my phone had already been smashed on the ground by him. He probably has a great memory. He even forgot these details. Besides, even if I had brought it in, my body was bent at a 90-degree angle. There was no space for me to call. And even if I did call, Adrian wouldn't have believed me. He was in a trance. Then he let out a near-manic laugh. Ha ha ha. Good riddance, serves you right. Who told you to betray me, to cheat on me? Uncle Morgan stood aside, arguing my case. Nonsense, Madam was such a good person. How could she possibly cheat, Mr. Adrian? Don't ruin Madam's reputation. Then he sighed deeply. Then he opened some so-called evidence on his phone. I looked closely, The man in the photos was a stranger, but wasn't that woman me? The woman nestled in the man's arms, behaving intimately. But the Photoshop skills were just too bad. These internet photos are photos that many people use for memes online. Photoshopping a picture is incredibly easy to do. You can just place an order on Taobao, and it can be done for 5 yuan. Uncle Morgan took the photos and rolled his eyes directly. Clearly, Uncle Morgan, who was in his 50s, could tell that the photos were fake. Mr. Adrian, you've really been blinded by someone with malicious intent. Can't you even see such bad Photoshop skills? To persuade Adrian, Uncle Morgan took out his phone and photoshopped a few pictures. Sure enough, one so-called piece of evidence after another was photoshopped. I floated in the air and saw the source of these pictures. It turned out these photos were all sent to him by Celia. To get between us, Celia went to any lengths. Adrian took back his phone, his whole body trembling. Then she said she was pregnant. We never even. How could you not have? You've just forgotten. Uncle Morgan told Adrian to look at the surveillance footage directly. When the surveillance cameras were installed, Adrian used the excuse of preventing thieves. Actually, I knew in my heart that he just wanted to monitor my every move in real time. He was very controlling and didn't like me bringing people home casually. So for 7 years of marriage, I was almost always alone at home. I had fewer and fewer friends, and was revolving around him all day. Adrian opened the surveillance footage, desperately searching for the figure of a strange man. But he found the footage of the two of us making love that day. His hand slipped, and his phone fell to the ground. Those originally fierce eyes instantly became dim. At this time, Celia also rushed over. Seeing the distraught Adrian, she stepped forward to comfort him. Brother Adrian, don't be afraid, maybe this is all Nora's doing. But at this time, Celia didn't know that the truth had already been revealed. Adrian glared at Celia fiercely. Then he slapped her hard. The force was great, and 5 finger marks appeared on Celia's face. Seeing that Adrian had hit her, the originally delicate Celia instantly became fierce. A stark contrast to her previous weak, White Lotus appearance. Adrian, how dare you hit me? Adrian slowly stood up, appearing about to lash out. This was the first time I had ever seen him treat Celia this way. Tell me this is evidence of Nora cheating? You photoshopped it yourself, didn't you? Seeing that the matter was exposed, Celia simply didn't hide it anymore. So what if I photoshopped it? Didn't you say you didn't love her anymore? So this evidence doesn't matter to you, does it? Adrian was enraged by Celia's words. He rushed over and grabbed Celia's neck. Then do you know that now Nora is dead, and she was pregnant with my child in her belly? Celia was being strangled, unable to breathe. I instinctively covered my own neck. That strong feeling of being unable to breathe surged into my heart. I understood that feeling too well. Adrian often lost his temper inexplicably after drinking. Whenever he was unhappy, he liked to grab my neck. My neck often had scratches. To maintain his hypocritical image for him, I had to wear a scarf even in the middle of summer. Just as Celia was about to suffocate, a group of police officers in uniform rushed over. In a few quick moves, they stopped Adrian. Hello, Mr. Adrian, someone reported that you are suspected of intentional homicide. Please come with us to the station. Adrian's pupils contracted, his eyes filled with fear. Then he pointed his finger at Celia. Comrades police, it's this woman who caused it. She bewitched me, made me lose my beloved wife. She's the third party in our relationship. If you're going to arrest someone, you need to arrest her too. Celia slapped Adrian across the face. Adrian, what nonsense are you spouting? You were the one who came crawling after me, and now you say I ruined your relationship? Are you even a man? The two, who were usually so respectful to each other, now had bloodshot eyes. Adrian was exasperated and knew that he could not escape a death sentence. He grabbed a fruit knife from beside him and stabbed it straight into Celia's abdomen. The sharp knife pierced her abdomen and blood gushed out. Celia was stabbed in a vital spot and died on the spot. Before she could even be taken to the hospital, her pupils had already dilated, and she was sent directly to the crematorium. After assassinating Celia, Adrian seemed possessed. He was close to madness, sometimes talking gibberish. Nora, it's okay. I'll come find you and the baby in a few days. I really didn't mean to. Can you forgive me? It's all my fault for being bewitched by other women back then, you know? I was so unaccustomed to being away from you those days. I enjoyed you drawing my bath every day when I came home. The hangover soup you made me after I drank. You would take care of everything in the house for me every day. You were so good, but I missed it. I'm not human. I'm the one who killed you. For 7 years, I took care of him like a servant. But he personally took my life. Late-coming affection is cheaper than grass. Now hearing every word he says, I only feel disgusted. Adrian was arrested according to the law. Intentional homicide, and committing violence in public. He was sentenced to death directly. His crime was reported by major platforms. The Lou Group, which had always been mythologized, was knocked off its pedestal and never recovered. After being imprisoned, Adrian suffered all kinds of torture. Unable to bear the burden, he finally chose to commit suicide, dying at the age of 30. They received the punishment they deserved. And my resentment gradually dissipated. A ray of light shines. I want to start my life anew. I hope in the next life, the world will treat me kindly.